Maimonides breaks down evil into three types, and I found this to be very interesting. I've never thought of evil this way, but it made sense. He says that evil exists or is of three kinds, so there are three types of evil. All evils fall into these three types. So the first evil is the evil that you can describe as it comes from nature, like it's evil that, let me read how it describes it. The first kind of evil is that which is caused to man by the circumstance that is subject to genesis and destruction, or that he possesses a body. It is on account of the body that some person happen to have great deformities or paralysis of some of the organs. This evil may be part of the natural constitutions of these persons, or may be developed subsequently in consequence of changes in the elements, e.g. through the bad air or thunderstorms or landslides. Evil of the above kind which befall man are very few and rare. Okay, before I go to that point of very few and rare, so he's basically saying that the first kind of evil that we have to deal with as humans is evil that, in essence, it's the nature that throws it at us. We are born with some deformities that are evil from nature, or we get some infection, or even though that can go to a different category, but I see how we can get some through not action of your own or any other person. You just got this infection, some microorganisms got into your system. Maybe you're walking in some wild place and then you became sick, or there is an earthquake and you are in a house, even though that can also fall in another category, especially when we talk of people building houses without following whatever is required when building houses. But of course, still, it doesn't matter how strong the house is, it can still go down with an earthquake, or there is a volcano, or there is a mudslide and you die in that. Or you are at sea and you are in a ship and then there is a huge storm and the ship wrecks and you die. So that's evil that comes from nature. And we can't really do anything about that evil. If it has to happen, it has to happen. And he says that evil, however, he says that evil is very rare. It's not as common as we think. He says, let me read, he says, evil of the above kind which befall man are very few and rare. For you find countries that have not been flooded or burned for thousands of years. There are thousands of men in perfect health. Deformed individuals are strange and exceptional occurrence, or few in number if you subject the term exceptional. They are not 100th, not even 1,000 part of that are perfect normal. Like if you find people that are suffering from things that nature has thrown to them, and you compare them as a percentage of everybody who's doing well and is not affected by anything from nature, then the occurrence is very minimal. That's what he says. So that's the first type of evil. The second type of evil is evil that other people do to us. Is evil that other people do to us, and that includes people robbing you, people stealing from you, people, like all kinds of anything that another person can do to you and they end up hurting you. Then that falls in the second category of evil. And now that's what I was talking about when I was talking about, for example, if we talk of houses falling or crumbling down during an earthquake, while that comes from nature, there is a possibility that an architect or an engineer did not do their job the way it's supposed to be done. Maybe a contractor did not use material that was required to be used, or in the amount that was. Then we might end up with that situation. Maybe that house would have withstood the earthquake, but it did not because of the actions of others. So that evil will fall into that category of evil that others do unto us. But he also says that kind of evil is not as common as we think. It is a little bit more than evil that comes from nature, but it's not as widespread as we think. He says while you might I was thinking now, this is not him speaking. Why we might read the news that somebody murdered somebody, somebody went and robbed somebody. When you take everything in totality and the number of people, lives, and everything, even in areas where there is a lot of robbery and murder, it's not as common as we think. It just sounds a lot common because it's something that we really fear, and it comes across, and we think, yeah, there's a lot of robbery and murder happening around, and you are fearing that I'm going to be next, and you might be next. But when you take everybody into consideration, it's not as common, even though it's more common than what the evil that comes from nature. So the evil that comes from other human beings to us, them stealing from us, them not doing their job properly. So maybe you are driving on the road and somebody else is careless and you end up getting hurt. That kind of evil, or as I've said, somebody's not doing his job the way they're supposed to do, and they end up constructing a house that will easily fall down and you die. That's the second category of evil. Now, there is the third category of evil. And now, according to Maimonides, this is the most numerous evil. This is the evil that affects most of us like every day. And this evil is the evil that we do to ourselves. He says that class of evil comprises which everyone causes to himself by his own action. This is the largest class and is far more numerous than the second class. It is especially of this evil that all men complain. Only few men are found that do not sin against themselves by this kind of evil. Like, most of us do some things that will end up hurting ourselves. We eat. In fact, he mentions food. He says, this class of evil originates in man, for he says, such as excessive desire of eating. Yeah, we eat too much and we end up having health issues. We don't exercise. All these are things we are doing, and then it's evil we are doing to ourselves. Drinking, love, indulgence in these things in undue measure or in a proper manner, or partaking of bad food. There are so many things we do that will end up hurting ourselves, wronging other people, pushing away people who maybe should be with us, or all these, the decisions we make every day. Sometimes most of the time we are making decisions that come back to bite us, and that's the kind of evil he's talking about. And in fact, he says this is very numerous. And I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, most of the bad things that happen to us. I was even talking to somebody about a few people I know we went to school with, and they reached somewhere, they dropped out. Parents tried to persuade them to continue with their studies. They didn't see it meaningful. They left, and some of them are very suffering, and they reach out to you like, oh, I have this problem, and you are thinking this was because you did not see it fit to invest in effort, and then so that you can reap later on. For you wanted what is it called, quick gratification out of life. So that's an evil you did to yourself. You were not patient. That's evil that you did to yourself. So there are so many people who are suffering, but if you really go through, you will find that some of them, or most of them, is things they are suffering today because of what they did or did not do in the past. So it's evil that they've done to themselves. Some people have pushed away people who would have been their supporters, and now they are suffering because of their own actions. Some people have attitudes that make it difficult for other people to be around them. That's evil you are causing yourself. So I found that approach to be interesting, but it really, I saw like it made a lot of sense about that, the evil we cause ourselves being like the most numerous. So those are the three types of evils that Maimonides talks about in the Guide for the Perplexed.